Last night before the NBA draft, Celtics fans got hit with a pretty surprising blockbuster move that's shaking up the whole off-season landscape. Boston officially traded Chris Porzingis to the Atlanta Hawks, marking their second major transaction of this offseason. It's a deal involving 3 teams, and Boston ends up receiving Georges Niang plus a future second-round pick in return. Now, at first glance, many Celtics fans might feel a little uneasy about losing Porzingis, especially after all the hype and high hopes around him. But this move is tied directly to salary cap maneuvering. The Celtics are now officially under the second apron of the new NBA collective bargaining agreement, which means they're in a better financial position to make more moves down the line. This isn't just about basketball talent on the court, it's a chess game on the salary cap sheet. Porzingis was carrying a hefty contract north of $30 million, and by moving him, Boston sheds about $22 million in salary. The Hawks, on their end, take on Porzingis' deal but send back Georges Niang, who makes roughly $8 million, plus a second-round pick. And then there's the Brooklyn Nets, the third team involved, who appear to have been the source of the second-round picks exchanged in this complex deal. They're also grabbing a first-round pick in the mix, further stockpiling assets for the future. Brad Stevens and the Celtics front office are clearly playing the long game here, prioritizing flexibility and future assets over immediate on-court firepower. Remember, just 24 hours earlier, the Celtics pulled off the trade for Drew Holiday, which was another significant move reshaping the roster in less than a day. Boston has added 3 second-round picks to their treasure chest and relieved themselves of a massive luxury tax hit. That luxury tax burden was looming over the franchise, with estimates that they face penalties in the realm of $250 million. By executing these trades, Boston cuts that number down by over 2/3, dropping it to about $80 million, which is a huge relief for the financial health of the franchise moving forward. The new CBA rules have tightened restrictions around the luxury tax aprons, making these kinds of salary dumps almost mandatory for teams like the Celtics that want to remain competitive without bleeding money. Being under the second apron by about $4.5 million gives Boston more breathing room, especially since they remain roughly $15 million above the luxury tax threshold. This could open the door for more trades and roster tweaks as the offseason progresses. It's a balancing act between staying competitive and managing the books. Now, let's talk about Georges Niang, the player Boston got back in this deal. Niang is a familiar name for Celtics fans. He's not a superstar by any means but has proven to be a reliable role player who can knock down the three-pointer at an impressive rate, around 40% from beyond the arc. Since 2020, he's actually been part of the NBA's winningest teams, consistently contributing as a steady bench presence. His game is straightforward. He stretches the floor, provides spacing, and chips in with timely scoring. Defensively, he's not going to wow you, but his offensive contributions have been solid and consistent. What makes Niang interesting is that his contract is expiring after this upcoming season, giving the Celtics flexibility either to keep him on a short-term basis or flip him in another trade. His presence might even impact other roster decisions, such as the future of Sam Hauser, whose role and contract could come under scrutiny in the coming weeks. The Celtics front office now has several assets in hand, including multiple draft picks, which could be used as trade bait to tweak the roster and manage their salary cap situation further. It's also worth noting the number of teams that reportedly showed interest in Porzingis. Early in the day, rumors circulated that about 10 to 12 teams had made inquiries. The Pelicans, Warriors, Lakers, Spurs, and then finally the Hawks emerged as the serious suitors. The Hawks' late-day push made all the difference, and this multi-team deal ultimately got finalized. That kind of wide interest indicates that Porzingis still has value around the league, despite some of the struggles he faced in Boston and the mystery health issues that sidelined him at times. Looking back on Porzingis' tenure with the Celtics, it's clear that he had moments where he was a game changer. The first quarter of Game 1 in the 2024 NBA Finals stands out vividly. For about 5 minutes, Porzingis put on a show that turned heads and essentially gave Boston a huge early edge. When healthy and engaged, he was a sort of cheat code for the Celtics, unlocking a level of offense and spacing that made their championship run possible. But the consistency and availability just weren't there enough over the course of the seasons, which ultimately led to this move. On the other side, the Celtics are looking toward an offseason filled with questions about what comes next. Brad Stevens seems determined to continue tinkering, possibly using the new draft picks to make additional trades and shed more salary. There's speculation that Sam Hauser could be the next player moved to create more cap space. Others are wondering whether a trade involving Jaylen Brown might happen, especially since reports suggest there's serious interest from other teams in acquiring the Finals MVP. From 2024, Derek White's name has also come up in trade talks, though many insiders believe he is untouchable due to his contract and value to the Celtics core. The Celtics face a pivotal moment in this offseason. The new CBA is forcing teams like Boston to reconsider how to build a contender. Balancing star power with financial reality, the Porzingis trade exemplifies this perfectly, giving up a talented but expensive player to gain flexibility and draft capital. Whether this strategy pays off long-term remains to be seen, but for now, the Celtics are clearly positioning themselves for a dynamic summer filled with moves and possibilities. Following the Porzingis trade, the Celtics find themselves in a precarious yet intriguing position as they head into the remainder of the offseason. The financial relief gained by shedding that large contract has opened up a window for Brad Stevens and the front office to maneuver, but the roster itself still feels like a work in progress, caught somewhere between contending and rebuilding. George Niang's arrival provides some immediate bench shooting and floor spacing, but he's unlikely to be a long-term cornerstone for the team. Instead, his expiring contract and steady skill set make him a flexible piece of potential trade chip or a stopgap as Boston evaluates other moves. One of the biggest looming questions is the fate of Sam Hauser. His contract and role on the team have been discussed extensively in trade rumors. With Niang now in the fold, there might not be enough minutes or cap space to accommodate both players comfortably, especially if the Celtics want to remain under the tax apron or get closer to the luxury tax threshold. Hauser's value around the league is notable due to his shooting ability and youth, making him a prime candidate for trade discussions. Moving him could allow Boston to further lower payroll, while adding future assets or a player that better fits their evolving roster strategy. Then there's Jaylen Brown, whose name has surfaced in whispers of possible offseason trades. Brown, fresh off a Finals MVP season, is undoubtedly a prize asset, and teams looking to make a splash might be tempted to offer substantial packages to acquire him. The Celtics' stance on Brown's future will reveal a lot about their direction. Are they committed to contending with him as a key figure, or are they considering a rebuild or retooling that might involve moving one of their top stars? While the buzz about Brown's potential trade has increased, it's still unclear whether Boston is actively shopping him or simply testing the market. Derek White remains a critical piece in this puzzle. His versatility on both ends of the floor and the team-friendly nature of his contract make him valuable. Beyond just his on-court contributions, White's presence solidifies the Celtics' backcourt depth. But the front office is faced with tough choices about how to maximize roster flexibility and cap health. Although some speculate about White's trade value, many insiders believe he is untouchable given the balance he brings between performance and salary. Any move involving him would signal a significant shift in the Celtics' approach to building a contender. The new CBA landscape has changed how teams approach roster construction, especially those hovering near or above the luxury tax line. Boston's moves, including the Porzingis trade and the Drew Holiday acquisition, demonstrate a clear strategy to reduce luxury tax penalties drastically, while keeping the team competitive. By moving under the second apron, the Celtics have gained flexibility not just to add players, but also to avoid the harshest financial penalties that can stifle long-term sustainability. The luxury tax is no longer just a fine. It's a strategic factor that influences every major decision in the front office. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. The NBA rumor mill is buzzing louder than a bee's nest in July, with an earth-shattering whisper gaining serious traction: NIKOLA JOKIC to the Boston Celtics. Sources close to the situation, who wish to remain anonymous due to the highly speculative nature of the information, suggest that the reigning MVP could be on the verge of signing a 3-year deal with the storied franchise. While concrete details remain elusive, the sheer possibility of such a move has sent shockwaves through the league. JOKIC, a foundational piece for the Denver Nuggets and arguably the most dominant center in the game, joining forces with the already formidable Celtics lineup, would instantly reshape the championship landscape. Imagine the passing artistry of JOKIC alongside Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, or his rebounding prowess complementing Al Horford's veteran presence. The offensive schemes that coach Joe Mazzulla could devise with such a versatile talent at his disposal are tantalizing to consider. Naturally, Denver fans are reeling at the mere thought of losing their beloved Joker. For years, he has been the heart and soul of the Nuggets, leading them to their first ever NBA championship. The idea of him departing, especially to a perennial contender, is a tough pill to swallow. However, the allure of another championship, potentially in a new system and alongside different stars, could be a compelling factor for the Serbian superstar. This Burburianho is still very much in the realm of speculation, but the intensity of the whispers suggests there might be more than just smoke to this fire. If there's any truth to it, the next few weeks could see an unprecedented shift in NBA power dynamics. Keep an eye on this developing story, as it has the potential to become one of the biggest free agency bombshells in recent memory. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.